Okay, now that's a yard, and that was just a hell of a lot of work to hammer that out. I don't know, probably a 90-minute cut. It was unbelievably high, actually. I would have mowed it earlier, but it's been way too wet, and it's still wet. My arms are shaking from using the trimmer for half an hour. I had to go all along the woods line and clean that up, but let me focus. It's even striped pretty well. You can still see where that tree used to be. Look at his yard over there. I don't know what he did to it, but it is not happy. Okay, Kennan's up there, still with his winter wheels on. It seems as though he has made a move on some summers, though. Kenan, I can hear your CSB from here. This is gonna piss him off. Hey, Joe.
What's up?
Oh, as usual. Mowing was a bitch, as I said. I'm in the S4. I did the eeny, meeny, miny, moe thing, and I got the S4, so I ride with Kenan next. We're gonna go to Panera Bread, get some nutritionals, then go check on the M5. This is the original engine after 192,000. We're ready for sale. And I'm going to try to get in here and get a look at the exhaust valves and see just how carbonated they have become. It's pretty hard to tell, but they're pretty crusty in there.
30 motor oil.
This is a momentous moment.
First quart of oil.
5W30 and an M5. Yeah, I can't say I've done that either. I put 530 in other motors.
330 and
oh yeah.
5.
Yes, sir.
You can still see the
Break-in goop in there, whatever that's called, that red stuff.
Hold on, wait. Oh yeah. Can't quite get it to focus, but
Yeah, it won't. I don't know what that's. What's that red break-in kind of goop called in there?
That's assembly lube.
Assembly
That's
lube, that's it, yeah.
red line assembly lube.
Okay, yeah, I remember you when the heads were up.
Oh, you can see it in there.
very cool. Hi, Joe.
What's up?
Hello. Very cool. All right, here we go.
Make sure it's clean.
Yeah, that's light.
Yeah, yeah.
Want me to get a picture of it? No, it's not that big. It's a big deal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah.
It's going down.
Glug 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 glug
It's a
glug.
good thing.
It's really thin.
Yeah, I know. It's like water almost. Sweet.
Number one of many.
Yeah. Well, hopefully less than you're used to.
Yeah.
So talk about some progress on a Friday. Things are in great shape. So mowed. Went to Panera with Joe and Kenan. Caught up for a bit, got some grub. Headed over to Lyric Motorsport, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. Would have been about 3. He had the engine in there at 8 o'clock, as far as physically in there. Connecting things up, bolting transmission in, tie rod to the spindle, all of that stuff. You know, that obviously takes quite a bit more time to put an entire subframe and engine back in the car. But fantastic progress today. I got to put in the first oil. We're using genuine BMW twin power turbo 5W30 full synthetic for the break-in. Figure I'll use that for the first 500, 750, 1,000 miles whenever I do that first oil change, and send that off for analysis. And I'm expecting that first oil change to come back and have there be elevated levels of pretty much everything as bearings start to wear in and stuff like that. It'll be an abnormal first change. However, somebody that knows what to look for should be able to look at it and see if things are wearing in properly. So I don't know when that will be done at 500 or 1,000 miles. I'll talk to Tom and Bill and see what they recommend. So I put the oil in, Bill put in a bunch of coolant. It took like 3 gallons or something like that, 3.25. He pressurized the expansion tank, which then pushes it into the engine somehow. Kennan's the cooling master Kennan. But we put a bunch in. I used just the BMW 50/50 mix, the blue stuff. Looking at the old engine, the exhaust valves are definitely black. Everything in there is pretty well coated in carbon, but it's not nearly as bad as some of the, is it the M54 that needs the carbon cleaning? And other S62s have physical clumps, chunking of carbon deposits on the valves, and mine didn't have any of that, so I suppose that's good. We ended up ruining the old starter motor, so I'll have to amend my listings and say that the starter motor is not included, because something, there's like a solenoid or something on the bottom of it, and I tried to unscrew it and it was spinning in the housing. It was shot. So as you guys know, we put a new one on the new engine, but it's all in there. It's ready for drive shaft, exhaust, chassis braces, heat shielding, splash guards, plenum, beauty covers over the spark plugs, air intake system. That's pretty much it. Today after I left, I did the prime. They pulled the relay for the fuel pump with the engine full of fluids. I cranked it over a whole bunch. It sounded terrible. I put a video, Tom sent me a video, and I put that on the E39 M5 owners group. And the first comment was, why does it sound so bad? Well, there's no oil pretty much anywhere in the upper part of the engine, aside from that assembly lube, red line assembly lube. So that will smooth itself out and hopefully sound good later. They didn't do the first start today. That's going to be Monday. They said they wanted to button a couple things up, maybe get some exhaust on there because it would be terribly loud with only headers. So I'll head in Monday, hopefully see more of it put together, maybe some wheels on the front, could be on the ground, get in there, fire it up. I don't want to be there for the first start, but if I am, then I am. But I am excited to hear it. I know there's going to be lifter take, as I mentioned, but it's exciting. What else? I came back here, I turned in a paper, I did another assignment, that one that I missed. Initially, he told me your scores are good, don't worry about it. And then he sent me the link, he's like, yeah, you do need to do this. So that was fun. I did that, turned that in. I have an exam that I'm doing today. It opened 66 minutes ago. Technically, I'm not doing it at 1 in the morning, I'll do it tomorrow. That'll finish up another class. Then I've got an exam Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'm done, as I mentioned yesterday. Jake, I think we were talking about, you asked me what something was under the hood of the Genesis. I know that I pulled that car very close to the wall. I'm going to see if I can't get under there and get a look. And at the end of this video, I will put in the clip that Tom sent me of the cranking with no start. It kind of sounds, at least on my iPhone speaker, it sounds very much like what multiple bad rod bearings would sound like. It's an unrhythmic, engine spinning, and I don't know how many RPMs the starter motor gets it to, but it doesn't sound good. Box behind the engine. Well, there's 2. There's a lot of boxes under here. Everything's covered in plastic. This one here, I'm fairly certain, it looks like we're going to find out, is fuses and relays. I'm guessing maybe that's what those blue things are. Bunch of 30 amperes, 40, 60, 80, and a 10 and a 25. So that's all fusery. I'll put that on better in a minute. This one is held down with a nut. Kind of. That's generally where a brake booster would be, unless that's brake fluid. That's brake fluid there. So I'm not sure what's under that. All the way in the back, there's a lot of crap, a lot of hosing, a lot of hosiery and wiring. This is the, there's more fuses and the battery terminals are here. Then this one, I've never even taken this one off before. It looks like another fuse box, and it is. And that kind of looks like a tiny little DME. It says Hyundai on it. And it can't be that small. Maybe, that would be cool if the DME just like, I would not be able to take it out that easy. I don't know what that is. But you can see the spark plugs or the coil packs right there. They're not really covered by anything. I don't know why there's so many fuse boxes. Maybe the engine fuses are designated separately from something else. I'm guessing the air box is here because there's the mass airflow meter. It's not an expansion tank. It looks like it has something to do with intake. It's not very deep. I don't know. Mystery box. More mystery components. This comes off somehow. I don't want to start ripping things apart under here because it works. Washer fluid's all the way up here in the front. That's never even been filled. Coolant. It's got its own dipstick. Never checked it. I assume the computer would tell me. But that's the 4.6. Now they did a 5.0 and they did a 5.0R spec. Both of those make, I think, slightly more than 400 horsepower. This one's rated at 385. Look at the size of that one strut too. It's only one, not two. Speaking of struts, I did the hood struts on the M5. The M5 hood opens a lot more than this one does. I did the hood struts, and I'm also doing that latch that when you pull the thing in the car, it springs out of the grill. Mine didn't spring out. You had to go in and fish for it, so I got a new one of those for cheap on ECS. And that will be put in likely tomorrow or Monday. So anyways, I'm gonna head in there Monday. Hopefully we'll hear it. Maybe it'll be somewhat drivable. The first order of business is gonna be to have an alignment since both subframes have been on the ground. It'll get its alignment. I'm hoping they'll drive it a little bit. Then when I get it back, it'll have to be driven fairly easily. Break in the clutch, bed in the clutch, let the engine get going a little bit since piston 6 was done. Do that oil change, get it back, drive it, enjoy it. I gotta put a new shifter on. I gotta put the center console back in. Unless they go and start detailing things under the hood, it's kind of messy from assembly lube and just grease, and putting an engine in a car is not a clean task. So I will detail the engine bay as far as air boxes go, plenum lid, valve covers, beauty covers will go on last, so they'll be clean, but I'll make it look pretty. So I'm going to bed. Tomorrow is Saturday. I think we're taking my grandmother down to that place we usually go in the fall for the day after Thanksgiving, doing that for Mother's Day. Oh, another thing. I won a eBay auction that I had to fight with a little bit for something that I think is pretty cool. This is what dealerships had many years ago. That is the E39 M5 technical training manual from BMW North America. So this one is dated May 1st, 2001, so it knows about the facelift stuff. We got 3 tabs, complete vehicle, S62 B50 engine, and the MSS 52 engine electronics. We got a table of contents. This just goes through the differences to the other E39s. We get, 3.15 to 1, 25% locking differential. We get all the dimensions. We get the technical data versus a 540. Talks about the front and rear bumpers being different, the exhaust, the chassis braces, the silencers are different, batteries in the middle. I actually found out that this plastic thing is designed to, in the event of a rear end collision, it will break away and cause the battery to move forward, preventing fire or electrical problems. The mirrors fold. Talks about the P-bus to the passenger door module that makes that work. This thing's pretty technical. There's a lot of charts in here that talk about the electronic systems. Seats are different, tachometer's different, suspension's different, everything's firmed up. Actually learned that it has a 750IL E38 integral link. I had to put that in there. Different brakes, different wheels, tire pressure. They went on and on about this freaking tire pressure system. Got very technical. We're coming up on a 10-minute clip, guys. This is new. Then we get into the engine. This is where things get interesting. Starts telling us about breaking the code down. We get the output specifications. Then it gets really nerdy. We have a power curve and a torque curve. It's making good torque, all the way from 1600 RPM to around 6000. Horsepower is interesting. It doesn't even break 300 horsepower until 4200 RPM. And boy, you wouldn't know it because most of the power is below that. There's the block, bottom of the crankcase. Piston cap, piston sprayed with oil right there from the crankshaft. Really cool stuff. Goes on and on about the scavenge oil pump operation. how to take it apart, steel cylinder head gaskets. Could make a whole freaking video on this thing. The back of the camshafts have those things on them for the cam position sensors. There's the timing chains, Vanos operation, valves, Vanos, a lot of information about Vanos, how to time it, pressure accumulator, intake snorkels, throttle bodies, exhaust system. And you know, this I read everything except the engine management software. This gets very complicated, stuff that I don't mess with and I don't really need to know. I like all the big black and white pictures though, that are actual pictures. They're not computer generated images like everything now. There's the cats and the O2 sensors, and then there's all this stuff for to help techs diagnose. There's the cat converter temp sensor. That's what was jacked up under my car and just hanging there. I thought it was the exhaust gas temperature sensor, which was deleted in November 2000. Yeah, more Vanos solenoids. Really, really cool stuff to be able to have now that dealerships probably don't and will never work on these things again, so they get into the hands of nerds like me. Almost forgot two important things. Yesterday, I forgot that it was Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo. We went with my mom to Luchitas downtown. We split a carafe of margaritas, had chips and salsa, quesadilla. Jolly times were had. Secondly, Cavaliers went to Atlanta today, to Phillips Arena to play Atlanta. Down 5-10 most of the game, rallied in the fourth quarter, 36-15, won by 14 points or something like that. Cavaliers have now won 7 straight playoff games and are 3-0 against the Hawks, looking to close out and sweep Atlanta for the second year in a row on Sunday. That would be fun. Then we move on to the winner of the Toronto and Miami series in the conference finals. All right, going to bed. Talk on Saturday. Good night.